today we're going to make 3 fall harvest side dishes. Very, very easy. I've got my oven preheating, and what I'm doing right now is making some roasted Brussels sprouts. So I'm taking the outsides of them and I'm cutting them in half to make sure that they are cooked thoroughly. It'll be quicker if we cut them in half. And you can always do this, since it takes the longest, I'm starting with them first. You can always do this in a fry pan, or you can do it in a baking oven. And it's so much better than your grandmother's steamed or boiled Brussels sprouts, because it takes on a different flavor when you roast them, in that the leaves are able to caramelize and sometimes actually taste like veggie chips. So, you know, cooking with the team too is about giving college students an opportunity to show them how easy it is to cook really good food, mostly from the cafeteria, and be healthy about it. Part of what about the college transition too, in really being successful in college, not unlike cooking, is really making sure that you have time management. So in this instance, I'm cooking my Brussels sprouts first because they take the longest. It's not just about looking about the day ahead's homework, but it's about looking in the long range, about looking at farther ahead what's to come. You know, it's for student life. It is like, is there an event I have to run? And more importantly, do I have an exam or a research paper due that I should not be doing the nights before? So that's one thing. So today, with our fall harvest sides, I'm making our Brussels sprouts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my extra virgin olive oil, and if you'll see, I've cut these up. And as I said, I could do this in a fry pan, which is really quick, or I could do this as I am roasting. Because honestly, I really, really, really do not like them boiled or them steamed. So I'm just making sure that they're really covered in the pan with the olive oil. And I've got my sea salt. And I'm going to shake it all over because it's really delicious when it heats up. And really, all I'm doing is just sticking them in the oven, and then it's completely done. My next dish, which is going to take a little bit longer, is something called Tuscan beans. And these are also really easy. Just a can of white beans, cannellini beans, right? Very, very easy. A can of chicken stock. You know, you can buy no salt, low sodium, flavored with a little garlic, kosher, the whole thing. So you can always get some chicken stock in any kind of flavor. And usually I use a saucepan, which is sort of up, but today I have a fry pan in my new kitchen at 33 Beekman, our new residence hall. So in order to start off in cooking this dish, I'm going to cut up and soften a little bit of onion and a little bit of carrot. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to peel my carrot, obviously just like anybody would peel a carrot. And I'm going to dice up a little bit of my onion. Some people like a lot, some people don't like a lot. I kind of like a lot. My family doesn't like a lot, so I kind of go with the medium realm. So I'm going to take some olive oil, cover the bottom of my pan, and I'm going to cut up my onion into little dices, and make sure I've got it nice into pretty consecutive kind of size chunks. It doesn't have to be precise. As long as I get the work done, it doesn't really matter how I get there, right? So I am going to saute these onions, and I'm going to turn this on. And we're going to simmer this a little bit. I'm going to take the carrot, which you're like, you're kidding? You're simmering and softening a carrot? And yes, I am. Because I want these to just get a little bit of soft, but not burnt. Tender little pieces of carrots, tender pieces of onion. And I should say that normally you would not cut like that I am doing. This is my little knife I brought from home, and it's not very sharp, but I know I can get the job done. Otherwise, you should always cut away from yourself if you're not a really good cooker. And it does take some practice in order to know how to cook, how to time things, and how to really make it kind of come out all at the same time. As I said, just like college, it takes some planning and it takes some really thought to what you want to make that goes together. So I'm going to just make sure that this is sauteed a bit, that it's actually tender. And so you'll be able to know because the onions sort of get more translucent. They sort of lose their color. And so that way you sort of know that you have your onions to the place you want them to be. I always add in a lot of different things. You know, you could do salt and pepper, but I really like Montreal steak salt because it's got sort of salt and pepper and garlic and sort of just the right combination so you don't mess up your meal. So I kind of shake that in there just to give that a little bit of flavor. And so that gives it a little salt, a little pepper, a little garlic. And you can see this is sauteing up kind of nicely. Looks kind of pretty. And you're going to be able to see this when you make this Tuscan bean recipe. And so I'm just kind of making sure this is kind of tender, kind of heating through. Say you don't want a really hard carrot in this bean salad, so you really want to make sure they start to get tender. And we're getting very close, and they're getting nice and bright color. So carrots obviously are a little bit thick, and so it takes them a little bit more of time. But while I'm doing that, I've opened my can of cannellini beans, right? And I'm going to drain them. So I've drained my cannellini beans, right? And I'm dumping them right into this mixture. And I'm dumping even the bottom sort of pasty stuff on the bottom of the beans. And then kind of moving that around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of this chicken stock. And I'm going to really get it so it fills up the bottom. And I'm going to turn this up. So this starts to boil up and get mushy. And so it'll start to cook at a good rate that'll make it get like very thick beans. And then I'll finish it off with some of my fresh rosemary from my garden. So I'm just gonna, this is really easy again, walk away from this because it's on its own. Not unlike my friends, the Brussels sprouts. And here I'm just moving them around. And they're gonna cook up good. You can smell them already. They smell so much better than Grandma's boiled, icky old Brussels sprouts will. So I'm leaving that right now. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I think I may just, because I like to cook closer to myself, turn this off and switch this. Because I don't want to burn myself. How's that? So I'm going to turn this one on. Wrong. This one goes on. This newfangled stove, right? Okay. Oh, my beans are just kind of simmering and really kind of boiling down, and that's a really good place for it to be because it's going to sort of break down that beaniness and become a very flavorful dish. The next quick fall side I make is our zucchini panko sticks. So I've covered the bottom once again with oil. And these are a little bit different in terms of dimension. And I only say that because I have found through my experience that when you batter something, it's so much better if you flour it first, right? Flour first, then egg, then batter. A lot of people just do egg and then batter. Well, I find when I put some flour down, okay, got some flour here, I'm starting that off. Shoot, I almost had my egg. There's my rosemary. So I'm going to take this broken egg and I am going to mix up this egg. And then I'm going to put down some panko. And I really like panko. Panko is Japanese breadcrumbs. And they're really delicious. And quite honestly, I think they taste a lot better than regular old breadcrumbs. But I kind of like any breadcrumbs. So I'm going to put down my panko right here. And I might want some more. So I'm going to take my zucchini and I'm going to peel it. so that I've peeled all the outside matter. I don't have to, but I like to. And I will keep going with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sticks, right? So I'm going to cut this into almost like carrot sticks, if you will. And I'm going to put it in my flour. And once again, this takes planning. So while I'm cutting my sticks, watch what I do. I'm cutting my sticks, I'm covering them with flour. Then I'm going to go to my egg, and I'm going to make sure they get covered in my egg mixture, so that I know that they're all covered in that great egg kind of mixture. Then I'm going to make sure that I dip them into my panko, so they get covered in the Japanese panko. And so they're really covered in, and I'm going to start cooking these. You do get your fingers kind of dirty when you're working with panko. I'm going to turn this on, and we're going to go to simmer. That looks good. Let me give this a little, oh yeah, look at those beans just break down. So now I have this panko, and it's heated up, and it's battered, and I'm going to put them all in here and start kind of lightly frying them in the extra virgin olive oil. And they're going to make a really incredible kind of a snack, I think. They really taste great. It is very, very healthy. It's a great alternative to the old French fry, which, you know, if you eat too many French fries, you become a little fatter fry. So right now I'm actually cooking up these zucchini fries. They look pretty good. We are getting there on this. Oh, look at these guys are browning. So that's going to be really incredible. And if you want to taste this little crispy thing, Jackie, it's hot.
Ooh,
but try it. It tastes just almost like a vegetable chip.
Mmm, very good.
Isn't that something? So now look, my beans are really getting great. They're breaking down. They're soaking up all that chicken stock that's really making them soft and really giving them some flavor. And then these guys over here, I want to make sure I turn them. And I want to make sure it has a little bit of extra oil in there because it likes to soak it up. Again, my Montreal little mix of spice because it's so good. And then you're going to see in about 2 minutes how delicious this is all going to be. Maybe not 2 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But it's a really great option to eating and using fall vegetables that are cheap. You can get zucchini sticks in the cafeteria. You can get panko at your grocery store, make it yourself. And you really can do a lot of things with it. And I think panko, you can add some fresh coconut to it, which is also good, and make it with shrimp. You can also do all kinds of vegetables, really, in panko that really kind of give it another kind of depth of flavor. And so I'm kind of bringing this down a little. They're starting to get nice and cooked. You're going to be able to see how really tender they can be. A little salt. It's a little probably too much salt. But it's going to cook into the center. You want to make sure, you know, like this pot's a little bit bigger for this burner, so I'm making sure that my food is in the center. So it's going to all really cook at the same temperature and really make a big difference. Because when you have food that's sort of half done on one side and on the other, people are kind of like going, oh, that's kind of hard. Ooh, that's kind of soft. It's kind of like the Three Bears, right? I bet. Everybody's got to be happy. So you kind of want to make sure everything cooks at the same time. And then when you're kind of preparing, if I was doing a meat course to this, because I have 3 vegetables, I would have really started that, depending on what it is, way ahead of time. So these beans are really breaking down, and they are going to be ready shortly. They kind of look like they've got some good flavor to them, and they are going to be ready, as I said, in just a few minutes. These guys are taking just a pinch longer, but that's totally cool. I'm just going to add a pinch more of chicken stock if I'm going to let this sit here so it doesn't burn. So So you can always kind of play with this. If you goof up, add more beans. If you put too much liquid in. And if you think it's drying up, you just add a little bit more chicken stock, and you really can't mess this one up. And it's almost time for my wonderful rosemary from my garden. And you know, people don't really like a big chunk of rosemary, so I'm just cutting teeny tiny little sprigs of rosemary so you can kind of get that flavor. And I like to call this, you know, sort of a Tuscan bean, if you will. It kind of looks nice. So down here, oh yeah, these guys are good. Really good. Really good in it because they get so crunchy and so caramelized from the olive oil. The cooking is just so good. But soon we are going to be able to do a taste test here on our 3 fall harvest sides. Very easy. Once again, just Brussels sprouts, clean them up, olive oil, and some sea salt. Beans, can of cannelloni beans, can of chicken stock, little onion, little carrot, little rosemary if you like. Boom, you're done. This is like 4 ingredients, right? An egg, flour, panko, and your zucchini. Boom, you are done. So, as we see, let's wrap this up. We have beautiful Brussels sprouts that we're going to eat in 2 minutes. We have Tuscan beans that are so ready for us right now. And, my friends, and I'm turning off all the stove, we have panko zucchini sticks. So, I can't wait to see you on my next Cooking with the Dean with Pop TV. Have a great semester.